could you provide to at least me and the chairs want the committee maybe a description of how, because if you set the terminology if you set the definition for the terminology, I'd like to know what you went into that definition so we could do an apples-to-apples comparison, if you would, please.
Absolutely.
And then the second one is, there's a issue going on in the state of Arkansas with some of the private pharmacies and a contract that they were recently asked to, sign. It's kind of a controversial thing. So what I'm wondering is, if I understand right, you tell me if I'm wrong, but y'all here are basically making a pitch for us to consider using this as a means to, Arkansas do business in the prescription world. So what I'm wondering is, if the independent pharmacies have been kind of boxed into a corner, what's to say we as a state wouldn't eventually get boxed into the corner just like they've been boxed into it, and us arrive at the same result as they are? Or am I way off base? Feel free to call me out if I am.
Hi, my name is Amy Berger. I'm the Vice President of Supply Chain Pricing at Express Scripts, and I appreciate the question and the opportunity to address what the MAC law does to Express Scripts and our clients. Given the legislation, and again, diving into some specific points that the legislation requires of Express Scripts, we did have to recontract with a number of the pharmacies in Arkansas. You referenced independent pharmacies. We had, pretty good response, I will say, early on. The contract spoke specifically to aspects of the legislation, such as appeals. It actually provided some assurance with respect to reimbursement. What we heard from Dr. Riley's testimony earlier this morning was that, predictability was a concern of pharmacies. And so this contract actually does provide predictability and reimbursement. Unfortunately, over half of those independent pharmacies have decided not to pursue a contract with Express Scripts. And so it will result in disruption of many members, many of your constituents in Arkansas, because those pharmacies are not negotiating with Express.
Mr. Chair, I'd like latitude to continue at your allowance.
Sure.
Thank you. So we've got half the pharmacies in Arkansas, because they didn't sign a contract with y'all, that are now not going to be able to deliver product. Is that, or they're going to have to go to somebody else if that's allowed? Is that the long and short of it?
Yes, roughly 20,000 Arkansas members covered by Express Scripts will receive letters this week directing them to a new pharmacy because those pharmacies that did not sign the contract are no longer in network.
Was that contract issued to any of the other 49 states or just Arkansas?
It was a direct result of the Arkansas MAC bill.
So anything that we would choose to do as a legislative body, I'm just trying to think, problematic moving forward, anything that we would choose to do as a legislative body that Express Script is like Express Script is like, or any other PBM that we might choose to do business with, would that be the common practice of how you would react to the legislative body?
And what I will say is that there's MAC legislation in a number of states, and Express Scripts has always been and will continue to be compliant with the law, first and foremost. This law was very different, and what it expected of Express Scripts, specifically knowing wholesaler invoice prices, things that, that's in the free market and confidential, and we don't have access to pharmacy contracts with our wholesalers. And so we had to, one, address that in contract, and two, we had to make sure that our clients, their costs were able to be contained. And so the approach that we took in response to that legislation was to address those two aspects specifically.